The Authority Edit, Episode 2: The Visual Architecture of Power, What Your Silhouette is Saying. Welcome back to the Authority Edit. Last week, we talked about why so many accomplished women are being misread in the room, and how image, at its core, is a language, a strategic one. And like any language, if you haven't been taught it deliberately, you're improvising. And improvising in high stakes environments is always a risk. Today, we are going into the first pillar of the protocol edit method: visual architecture. This is where most image advice gets it completely wrong, because visual architecture isn't about what's beautiful or flattering or on trend. It's about structure. It's about what your silhouette communicates before anyone registers color, fabric, or price point. It's the foundation of everything else, and it's the most overlooked element of strategic image. Part 1: What visual architecture actually means. When I talk about visual architecture, I'm talking about three things: structure, proportion, and volume. And the reason I use the word architecture deliberately is because I want you to think about this way as an architect thinks about a building. A building communicates something before you walk inside. The structure tells you whether this is a place of authority, creativity, tradition, or even power. Your silhouette does exactly the same thing. And here's what's important to understand: visual architecture operates below conscious awareness. The people in that boardroom, in that pitch meeting, at that networking dinner, they're not consciously analyzing a shoulder seam, but their brain is processing it. And that processing happens in seconds. So let's talk about the three things that are most common structural mistakes I see senior women making and what to do instead. Part 2: The three mistakes. Mistake number 1: the shoulder line. The shoulder line is the hanger of authority in executive dress. It is structurally the most important point of your outfit and is the first thing that registers, even unconsciously, when you walk into a room. The most common error I see is a shoulder seam that doesn't sit exactly at the edge of the shoulder. Either it's falling slightly down the arm, which immediately softens and diminishes your presence, or is pulling inward, which creates tension and restriction. Both communicate the same thing: that the garment isn't quite right. And when the garment isn't quite right, the person wearing it doesn't quite fit either. This is why fit at the shoulder is a non negotiable. Everything else on a jacket or blazer can be altered by a tailor. The shoulder cannot. So when you're investing in a blazer, that is the one thing you need to check first. Not the color, not the fabric, the shoulder seam, sitting precisely at the edge of your shoulder. That is where authority begins. Mistake number 2: the proportion trap. Most women have heard of dressing for their body shape. What almost nobody talks about is dressing for proportion, and these are completely different things. There is a visual principle called the golden ratio: the idea that certain proportions feel naturally balanced and authoritative to the human eye. In practical terms, what this means for your wardrobe is that a 1 to 2 ratio, one third above, two thirds below, or vice versa, reads as composed and intentional. A 1 to 1 ratio, dividing your body visually in half, reads as unresolved. And yet, the 1 to 1 ratio is everywhere. A contrasting shirt worn untucked over trousers, a blazer that ends exactly at the hip, a belt that cuts the body precisely in the middle. These are incredible common choices, and they all create the same visual problem. They fragment the silhouette instead of unifying it. The fix is simple once you see it: tuck in, or wear a longer layer, or match your tone so the eye travels vertically rather than being cut horizontally. The goal is always a silhouette that reads as one continuous line of authority, not two separate halves. Mistake 3. Fabric tension. This one is subtle, but it destroys everything else you've done right. There's a difference between a garment that fits and a garment that is tight. And in executive environments, the distinction is critical. When a shirt pulls at the buttons, when a blazer creates horizontal creases across the back, when fabric pulls across the hip, the message it sends is one of constraint, of things not quite holding together. And that is never the message you want to send in a high stake room. I want to be clear. This is not about body size. This is about fit. The solution is not a larger size. It's the right cut for your specific structure and, if necessary, a tailor. A well fitted garment on any body reads as authority. A tight garment on a body reads as effort, and effort is the opposite of command. Part 3. The bigger problem, the influencer wardrobe. Now, I want to address something that sits underneath all three of these mistakes, and that's the source from which most women are building their wardrobes right now. Social media has given us unprecedented access to style inspiration, and it has also created an enormous problem for executive women: the capsule wardrobe built by copying influencers. Here's the issue: influencer wardrobes are built for visibility, for the camera, for the algorithm, for likes. Executive wardrobes need to be built for context, for the boardroom, for the pitch, for the negotiation table. These are completely different briefs, and a wardrobe optimized for one will almost always underperform in the other. The pieces that photograph beautifully on Instagram, the oversized blazer, the wide leg trouser in a statement color, the layered textures, may be creating visual architecture problems in your actual professional environment without you realizing it. This is why trend following is a risk for executive women specifically. Not because trends are wrong, no, but because your wardrobe needs to be built around your context, your role, and the specific message you need to send, not around what's performing well on someone else's feed. Next week, we're going into the second pillar of the protocol edit method: facial intent. How your face and the choices you make about it function as a strategic tool in professional environments. It might be the most counterintuitive episode I record, and I think it will change how you think about makeup entirely. If you haven't already, the Silent Negotiator Audit is waiting for you at my Instagram page link in bio that I will leave in the description box. It takes about 10 minutes and will show you exactly where image strategy stands right now. I'll see you next week.